Greetings, wizards. Welcome to the Papercraft Wizard channel. My name is Kelly, and I'm so excited you're here. In this video, we're going to be creating a fun pop-out mechanism with space for 4 photos, as well as space for a photo on the cover, inside of a cute little folio with journaling space. Okay, so I have 2 pieces of cardstock here. The first one measures 5 inches by 8 1/4 inches. And the second one measures 5 inches by 7 3/4 inch. So we're going to start by adhering these 2 together. I'm going to line this up on my craft mat. I'm going to have a 1/2 inch overlap. So I'm going to add glue only up to about that 1/2 inch mark. And then I'll take my second piece here and I'll adhere that into place. You want to make sure that those pieces of cardstock are straight together. Now I'll go ahead and use my bone folder to make sure those are nice and secure. Now I have a piece of Tyvek that measures 4 7/8 by 6 inches. I'm going to use this to reinforce this mechanism. To adhere the Tyvek to our cardstock, I'm going to use some collage medium. I'm going to start a bit here on the back of the Tyvek. And you can use any adhesive that you like that won't warp your paper. This is just something new I'm trying out. All right, now that we have our Tyvek secure on our cardstock, we can move on to our next step. For our next step, I'll go ahead and pull in my scoreboard, and we're going to do a couple of things. First, we want to score our piece at 7 1/2 inches. All right, and next I'm going to make a mark that is 2 1/2 inches to the left and one that's 2 1/2 inches to the right. Now I'm going to turn it around and I'll do the same thing on this side. So it's already scored at 7 1/2 here. I'm going to mark it at 5 and at 10. Now I'm also going to score this at 2 1/2 inches, going up. I'll keep scoring that all the way down at 2 1/2. And now where we made our little marks here, we want to make an X. So I'm picking a line on my scoreboard that's easy to identify, that I have both of my little notches on the same line. And then I'm going to go ahead and pour that. Now I'm going to turn it so that I can use the other two little marks that I made. And I'm going to score that as well. So when we are finished, we should have our big X with a line right through it vertically and horizontally. So now I'm going to go ahead and fold at those score lines. And now I'm going to go ahead and fold these lines here. And when we're done, it looks about like this. Now I'm going to fold these two. Oops. Now I'm going to fold these in. And this is our little mechanism. Okay, and now our mechanism will open like this. We have these two other pieces of cardstock. This piece measures 5 1/4 by 8 inches, and this piece measures 5 1/4 by 7.5 inches. I've scored these at 3 3/4 inches on both of them, and then also I've scored here on this one at 7.5 inches as well. We're going to adhere these two pieces together, and these will be our photo mat. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and miter the edges at that 1-inch flap. And this is where we're going to adhere our two pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to this little 1/2-inch tab we've created here. And then I'll adhere the other piece to it. Once I have that right about where I want it, I'll use my bone folder to make sure it's nice and secure. I'm just going to fold it all over the score lines. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my camera stamp to indicate that a photo may go here. And now we'll go ahead and set that aside. So next I have a piece of cardstock that measures 8 5/8 by 6 1/4. It is scored on the 8 5/8 inch side at 1/2 inch and at 5/8 inch. I'm going to use my scissors to miter just down to that first score line. And now I'll fold at both of those score lines. Now we have just a little 1/8 inch space there. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull in our base page. We are going to be putting this on the back side of our 4 square page. I'm just going to open that up to make it easier to adhere things to our page. The first thing I'm going to do is add this cover piece, and it's going to adhere right over the top here. So we are going to have just about 7/8 of an inch on each side. And we're going to want to make sure that we adhere that all the way to the top when we do put it in place. So now I am going to add my liquid adhesive to this little tab we've created, only up to that first score line at a 1/2 inch. I'm just making sure that that piece is all the way up against that edge. And when I have it right where I'd like it, I'll use my bone folder and make sure it's nice and secure. And that should take us right to the bottom of our page. This piece of cardstock measures 2 3/4 inches by 2 inches, and it's scored at 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch on the 2 3/4 inch side. I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to our bottom flap, only up to that 1/2 inch score line, and then I'll adhere that at the very bottom center of our page. This will be our magnetic closure. So I am making sure this is right at the very bottom of our page and just about as centered as I can get it using my craft mat to help guide me. I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure that is nice and secure. This magnetic closure will flip up like this. We'll have magnets here and here. The page will open and our mechanism will pop out. So our first piece of decorative paper we're going to adhere is this piece here, and it measures 7 7/8 inches by 7 7/8 inches. And we'll just adhere it right into place here. I'm just going to dry fit it to make sure that it will fit without issue. We should have about a 1/16 of an inch all the way around. So I want to make sure there's plenty of liquid adhesive on this page. I want to make sure there's plenty of liquid adhesive on this piece since our mechanism will be adhered to this piece. And a lot of the pressure is going to be up at the top, so I'm going to add a little bit of extra adhesive here. And I'll use my bone folder to make sure it's nice and secure. And now we have a piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/8 by 6 1/4. And this is going to be a little folio for our cover. I'm just going to fold that at the score line, furnish it down. I'm going to add a little camera stamp only in one spot on the inside front cover. I have 2 journaling cards from the collection. I'm going to use one for the front, and then I'm going to use the other as a journaling card inside. So I'm going to use my corner punch, and I'm going to punch all of the corners of this with the smallest punch size, just because that's what most fits my journaling cards. We're going to need 4 magnets for this whole project. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the magnet right about towards the end here so that it's not too much in the way of our journaling space. I'm going to go ahead and add liquid adhesive to the front side of this journaling card. I know it seems painful, but it's going to look cute, I promise. And then I'm just going to add some liquid adhesive around that magnet as well to make sure it stays in place. Now I'm just going to adhere this journaling card down. I want to make sure I have just about even space all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder to make sure that's all on there nice and securely. Fill my magnets right about there. I'm going to add this piece of double-sided tape. I'm going to take one of the magnets and let it magnetize itself to the base. Now that that's magnetized to the base, I'll go ahead and add some liquid adhesive around that magnet and to the back of this journaling card. You can make this folio any size you'd like with any image you'd like. So next we're going to go ahead and work on our magnet closure here. I have these 2 little pieces. One says nothing happens unless first we dream, and the other one has some little parachuters. I'm going to go ahead and use the little parachuters for the front of our magnetic closure and this sentiment here for the inside. So the top will not have a magnet on it. I'm going to go ahead and add my liquid adhesive and adhere this into place. I'm just going to use my bone folder to make sure that's nice and secure. I'm going to take some double-sided tape and adhere some magnets down. Now I'll add some liquid adhesive and adhere this into place. Once I have that where I'd like it, I'll use my bone folder to make sure it's nice and secure. And now that that's in place, I'm going to go ahead and magnetize my other magnet to it. And I'm going to go ahead and peel off this release paper. 1/4" red line tape and stick that right under there because I have a 1/4" space here for my magnetic closure. That is where it will sit in place. Perfect. So now I'm going to take my decorative paper that I'm going to use for my cover, and this paper measures 7 7/8 inches by 6 1/8 inch. I'm going to add my liquid adhesive and then adhere that into place. And I'm going to add a little bit of extra adhesive up here since we'll have a folio there. Just like always, I'm going to try to make sure there's an equal amount of space around the edges. If you have something in mind for a tutorial that you'd like to see, let us know in the comments. I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to our small folio, and then we'll adhere that onto the cover. Once we have that where we think we'd like it, I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Open up the folio and make sure that folio is nice and secure on our cover here. So now we're going to set this aside and we're going to work on our mechanism. So here's our mechanism. It'll open this way. We're going to take our quad fold and we're going to adhere that onto here. So one side will go on top and one side will go under. We only have 8 inches of space to work with. We're going to go ahead and trim this tip just a little, about 1/8 of an inch. And that's just so it'll sit in place more properly. So we want it to open up like this. We want to make sure that our mechanism is set up properly so that it'll work right. We have to have at least 1.5 inches of space here, and we have plenty of space. We want to have about 1.5 inches of space between our quad fold and the corner here of this mechanism. I'm just going to make sure that this is just about even. And I'm going to take this first piece here and I want it right about there. So I'm going to adhere only up to this mark here. And I want to make sure this has plenty of liquid adhesive on it. It's going to be doing a lot of work. I'm going to line this back up where we were. Make sure our piece is not too low or too high. And then I'm going to adhere that into place. And I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure that's nice and secure. And I'll go ahead and flip it over and we'll do the same thing with the other side. I'm just trying to figure out how far to stick the glue up there. And then we'll just go ahead and adhere that right into place. And I'm going to use my bone folder to make sure it is nice and secure. All right, and now when this opens, we have our quad fold pop out. Okay, before we add our mechanism, we need to adhere our paper to the inside of our cover. This paper measures 7 7/8 inches by 6 1/8 inch. I'm going to add liquid adhesive and adhere that to the cover. I'm adding extra adhesive down here at the bottom, as that will be doing a lot of the work for us there. So I'm just going to make sure that this has even spacing around the edges. And once I get it where I like it, I'll use my bone folder to make sure it's nice and secure. To add our mechanism, we want to make sure it is pretty centered. I think mine is going to go right about there. And now we are only going to add liquid adhesive to our two triangles here and here. So first I'm going to add it to this one that's going to be on the back. I want to make sure that I have that right because I already have my cameras on there. Okay, so I'm going to add the liquid adhesive here to the back. And I want to make sure there's quite a bit of adhesive. Okay. Once we have that right about where we need it, actually I'm going to go ahead and open this up so I can get a better grip here. I'm just going to use my bone folder to make sure that is nice and secure on there. I'm going to go ahead and add the liquid adhesive to the top triangle now. I'm just adding a ton of adhesive here because I just want to make sure that that stays nice and secure. I'm going to go ahead and push that down and use my bone folder to make sure everything is nice and secure. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and add a few gems. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and ring that bell for notifications. Thank you for watching. Happy crafting!